Today's video is the fourth and final, for now, video of signs you won't get the job. As a former recruiter, I can tell you there are a lot of signs and indicators that'll tell you you're not gonna get an offer, they're not gonna move forward with you, and they won't be hiring you, but they can be hard to see. So in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 more signs that tell you you won't get the job. Let's go. One sign you can look for that'll tell you pretty straightforward if you're gonna get the job or not is if you get the schedule for the interview and there is 2 or 3 people that are supposed to join the interview and you get in there and the person says they're gonna be joining us a little bit later and that person never joins the interview, right? So you're supposed to meet with several people, but for whatever reason now, you are not. Sometimes that happens, like they get up, they go, okay, I'm gonna go grab the other person, and then they don't bring back that other person, they just come back, they do a little bit more, and then it ends early. Sometimes you're like, okay, they're gonna join us midway through, and that person never joins. Why is this a sign? Well, if they go and tell the person, they're probably saying, hey, this candidate doesn't meet our qualifications, we're not gonna move forward. And if they're supposed to join, and they never come in, and that person doesn't go leave to get them, and they come back empty-handed, but instead, they just never come in, what probably happened is they identified somebody else they're interested in moving forward with. So if there's supposed to be multiple people who are joining the interview and gonna be interviewing you, and 1 or more of those people never join, that's a pretty solid indication that they won't be moving forward with you and you won't be getting the job. Now, the next sign you can look for is something where you need to be proactive. You need to ask about it, but if you ask them for next steps, right? You're trying to gain clarity on what comes next, what happens next, and they tell you they're not sure, or we're still kind of figuring that out. That right there is a sign that they're not gonna hire you. They're not gonna move forward with you. Most of the time, and I'm saying like 98% of the time in a recruiting process, you know exactly what is coming. As a recruiter, as a hiring manager, I've been in recruitment for 12 years. I've been a hiring manager for about 5. You know the process. It is clearly defined. It's A, then B, then C, then D. And if you interview with them and you go, okay, what comes next? And they don't have an idea, in all likelihood, that is a sign they're not going to hire you. They are not going to move forward. They're not telling you because while they have a process, they don't plan on you going forward in that process. So instead of saying that, they're just going to say, we're not sure, but we'll reach out. We'll be in touch. When they do reach out, it'll be to tell you that you didn't get the job. Now, this next one takes a little bit more ambition, but it is a really good way for you to get a tell on whether or not they want to move forward with you. So you give them hints about things you find intriguing, right? You say things like, well, team culture is really important to me. Or one of the things that I'm really interested in my next stop is further development. I want to continue to grow as a professional. I want to broaden my skill set. I'm interested in getting certifications, etc. And they don't use that opportunity to reinforce their opportunity has those things. That is a sign. In my company, we have a pretty good culture, right? And if someone goes, team culture is really important to me, I use that as an opportunity to go, well, that's really interesting. You say that because we have a really strong company culture. Let me give you some examples of why that's the case. What I'm doing there is I'm interested in the candidate. I hear there's a thing they're super interested in, and I'm reinforcing, we have that. This is a good fit for you. Now, if you give them several things that are intriguing to you, you're interested in, and they never use that as an opportunity to hammer home that they are going to be a good fit and that they do have those things you are interested in, well, that right there is probably a sign that they're not going to move forward with you. They're not interested in hiring you. It is like a layup, right? It's an alley-oop. They're throwing, you're throwing them the ball, and if they have that and if they are interested, it's easy to go poof and slam it home. If they don't do that, they're not going to hire you. Now, another big indicator is that at some point during the conversation, salary comes up, right? And they mention to you, your salary is way above what we're offering for this role. The reality is that is them telling you we're not going to move forward. Because there are times when you interview a candidate and their salary is high, but you are sold on that candidate. They are great. They are a great fit. I'll tell you what happens there. They go, hey, let's figure out a way to make this happen. This is like an awesome candidate. Or, they go, well, your salary is a little bit higher, but we might have flexibility. Let me see. I'll talk to my manager, or I'll talk to my boss, whatever. But if they say to you in no uncertain terms, your salary is way above what we're going to be able to do for this role, that right there is a pretty strong indicator. Because that conversation can go like 2 different ways. If you were above what they're willing to pay for the salary, they're either going to be like, no, absolutely, you're way above what we're looking for, or they're going, well, you're a little bit above what we're looking, but we have a bonus structure. There's maybe some flexibility here. Those are two different things. Here, they're interested in you as a candidate. Here, in their mind, it's already made up. They're not going to move forward. They won't be hiring you. Now, the last one, this can be a bit disheartening for the candidate, but it is absolutely a sign that you won't get the job. They ask you the same question over and over and over. I've actually been in this position as a person interviewing, right? I ask a question and the candidate does not answer it. But I need this answer. I can't just move on. I can't just be like, well, I really don't need this information. No, I'm asking this question for a reason. So when they don't answer it, I've got to reframe it slightly and ask it again. Like, no, I'm not sure I got the information that I needed here. Could you explain in detail blank, right? And then they still don't answer it. And then if the recruiter is asking you again, or the hiring manager is asking you again, what's happening there is you are not answering the question they need. And that is incredibly frustrating. And that right there, they're probably not going to hire you because of that. That's a sign you won't get the job, because I've heard from many, many, many hiring managers in my time in recruitment, Ben, I'm just not interested in moving forward. I asked questions and they just never really answered it. And if they're asking the same question over and over and over again, what's happening there is you're not answering their question. That's going to be incredibly frustrating with them, and you probably won't get the job. So there you have it. Those are 5 more. If you are seeing this video and it is like the first one of my videos you've seen of signs you won't get the job, in the description box below, I will link the first 3. They are good videos, and if you go through all 4, you are going to be able to spot pretty well whether or not you are a legitimate candidate or whether or not they are not going to hire you. It's going to be pretty clear, because you can look for all these different signs and you can kind of tell, where does their interest lie? How serious is this? And you want to know this information, because if you can identify early on they're not going to hire you, well, then you can put your effort elsewhere, apply to different jobs. You're not waiting around for them. You're not getting your hopes up. It's for the best. It's not great information, but I always say it's better to have more information than less in just about every situation, and this is absolutely one of them. If you were still watching and you were new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button to tell YouTube I don't suck, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I will respond. And if you were not new and you are a loyal subscriber and you're watching all the way to the end, you are awesome. If anybody tells you different, they're probably an idiot. Have a good rest of the day. Good luck in your next interview. You got this.